USC and UCLA have buys in the first two rounds of the Big Ten tournament, which begins Wednesday in Indianapolis. USC is the number 1 seed in the tournament. UCLA is number 2. The Trojans and Bruins play their first games on Friday. The Lakers are going for their 7th straight win tonight. They played New Orleans at Crypto.com. The Lakers haven't had a 7-game winning streak since February 12, 2021. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is pleased to announce that like George and Weezy,
well, we're moving on now.
Earlier this year, we were named as semifinalists for the American Climate Leadership Awards 2025. Wait for it. Wait for it.
You ready?
KBLA Talk 1580 was recently selected as one of 10 finalists being considered for this prestigious award. Hundreds of organizations, institutions, and even cities were nominated in the selection process. But KBLA Talk 1580 has made it to the finals. You're invited to watch live on Wednesday, April 16th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central, as Eco America announces the winner and the runner-up, awarding over $200,000 in prize money. To watch live, just go to ecoamerica.org to register and attend the online ceremony. That's ecoamerica.org. Don't miss the presentation of the American Climate Leadership Awards 2025, Wednesday, April 16th, and wish us luck. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, changing the conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
It was 7:45, we were on the line to meet the teacher, Miss Kathleen. First was Kevin, then came Lucy, third in line was me. All of us were ordinary compared to Cynthia Rose. She always stood in the back of the line, a smile beneath her nose. Her favorite number was 20, and every single day. If you asked her what she had for breakfast, this is what she'd say. Starfish and coffee, maple syrup and jam, butterscotch clouds and a tangerine, and side on a ham. If you set your mind free, baby, maybe you understand. Starfish and coffee, maple syrup and jam. Cynthia wore the prettiest dress, but different color socks.
KBLA Talk 1580. You know who's on the line when you hear this off the beaten track, Prince. It's got to be my friend and colleague. She is the director of Black Lives Matter Grassroots. She's a lead organizer for BLMLA, a mama, a professor at Cal State LA, and a host here at KBLA Talk 1580, Dr. Melina Abdullah. Good morning.
Good morning.
I forgot your main title.
It's a terrible morning. Huh?
I forgot your main title, president of the Prince fan club.
Look, don't you have joy now?
Yes.
Even with the Tariff Tuesday, even with this fool in office, starfish and coffee still gonna make you smile, right?
It does. It does. Yeah. Well, I'm not the president of the fan club like you, but I'm definitely a big Prince stan for sure.
Yes. That's my Prince Joy song. I love that song. I used to sing it to the kids as a bedtime song too.
In the Abdullah house, Prince songs are lullabies. I should say Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Kareem.
Yes. Or Happy Ramadan. Is it respectful to say Happy Ramadan?
Yeah, that's what it means. Ramadan Mubarak means Happy Ramadan.
Okay,
so
good.
it's a blessed, it's a holy time, and it's a time people who are not Muslim often think that like it's a time of suffering, but it's such a privilege and blessing and an honor to be able to participate in Ramadan, to be able to fast, it's, if you watch how Muslims greet each other during Ramadan, it's a coming together of Muslims all around the world. We're all doing this at the same time. We're all fasting. We're all praying. We're all reading the Quran. It deepens our faith. The purpose of Ramadan is to draw us closer to God. And so it's a joyful time. It's not, it doesn't feel like suffering. I feel greatly privileged to be able to fast and submit to God more fully during this period. So yes, happy Ramadan.
It is a really great perspective on Ramadan. It's a beautiful way of thinking about it, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. I know you are observant.
Yes, I am, and I'm a little. It's not quite as good to observe this year because my oldest child, who's the best Muslim in the family, is not here. They usually lead us in prayer and in morning prayer, and they're in D.C., so I don't get to pray with Tandiwe in the morning. But yeah.
Well, we got a lot to tackle and take on this Talking Point Tuesday, and I'm going to ask you to simultaneously wear your Black Lives Matter hat and your and your political scientist hat, if you don't mind, because there's a lot of stuff to cover. Not the least of which is this fool's address. Foreign policy address to Congress today. By this fool, I'm, of course, referring to the President of the United States. And he's going to be speaking to Congress. It's not a State of the Union, right, because he hasn't been president long enough, but it's a formal address, and I think I'm going to have to force myself to watch it. Do you think these things are important, and do you watch them, and if so, what are you looking for?
Oh, I watch them and I live tweet them. And so, if you're still on X, I talk a lot of crap on X during things like this. Not that there's ever been a thing quite like this. I'm sure we're going to be blindsided by some, ridiculousness that he's going to roll out. And, we know he's going to be speaking about tariffs. We know he's going to be talking about immigration. We know that he's probably going to talk about his plan to give even more immunity to police. And I think it's important that we pay attention. One of my dearest friends said that they stopped watching him because they didn't want to hear anything after he banned paper straws. They said that was the highest point he's ever going to get to. Is the banning of paper straws, so that's it. That's just no more.
They're done. They're done. I mean, I understand that because I just don't like the sound of his voice, and I don't like the fact that I know when he's lying, and no one is actually fact checking in real time. So it makes me feel tired and depressed. But it's my job, so I'm gonna watch the doggone thing. Sometimes I have to watch back and just skip over certain parts, but I will watch it, or a lot of times I'll read it just because I don't want to hear. I'll get the transcription of whatever the speech is. I just don't want to hear his voice. In fact, I was thinking of starting a TV channel where we had actors just read his speeches just so I don't have to hear him talk.
Yeah, I mean, it would be actually kind of hilarious if it weren't actual policy he was making. If what he was saying weren't true, if it were Saturday Night Live, It would actually be kind of hilarious. But this is actual things. These are things that he's doing that affect our real lives. And so that's why we can't just laugh at it. But I watch it in real time, and sometimes I do let myself get into, I'll hashtag a little bit petty and get into the comedy of it sometimes as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I feel like you may be, I call myself professionally petty. I feel like you may be borderline, professional petty. Borderline. I mean, but to me, it's left to keep from crying, because when you really know the implications of what he's saying, it's terrifying. And those are the times when I turn to my gallows humor to get me through.
Yeah, I mean, the humor gets me through, but also I like to know what's coming at me. I like to know what exactly we're dealing with, and everybody should, for instance, go fill up your gas tanks today, right? Go make sure you have some canned goods today. We're hearing other countries, Canada, I think, just said that they're going to clear their shelves of like American alcohol, right? That all the stuff, the tariffs don't work just one way. And so there's going to be an economic fallout. Those who have stocks are already experiencing that. And so I like to know what's coming at me. I like to know if he's going to announce, full immunity for police. I need to know that so that we can be prepared. And I know my son, my son is still a ninth grader, right? So we've been going through all kinds of drills and what this means and what to do if stuff really falls out, then what to do. And I like to be prepared, So early on, right after the election, on January 20th, we had a session, Black Lives Matter Los Angeles held a session called Organizing and Preparedness to Fight Fires and Fascism. And we were talking about, we had it planned before the fires of Altadena and Pasadena. It was really a preparedness session for the emergency that is Donald Trump.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, to your point, China and Canada announced retaliatory tariffs right away. Mexico says it will later this week announce their own. And the stock market has taken a nosedive so far. Those tariffs are targeting Mexico, China, and Canada. And I just don't think a lot of folks realize how much stuff that is going to impact. Cars and regular little stuff that you're used to paying not that much for, and supplies, building supplies, and just all kinds of things that are going to be more expensive now, right?
That's right. I mean, you're shipping, right? All of y'all who buy on Amazon, which you shouldn't be buying on Amazon anyway, all of y'all who are buying things on Wayfair, all of that is going to go up. Shipping is going to go up. The cost of goods are going to go up dramatically. In fact, they're already going up, right? And so we should prepare ourselves. And then there's other emergencies. And so I think one of the lessons of the COVID lockdowns was that our homes should be stocked and we should have go bags. And this is not to be fearful. I don't believe in fear. I don't practice fear. But it does mean that we should be prepared, and your home should be prepared. Your cars should be prepared. Don't let your car get below a half a tank is one of the things Baba Watani always teaches us, right? Make sure that you are prepared. And there is no telling what will happen under this regime.
Well, I better go get some gas. Baba Watani, explain who that is.
Right. Me too. Headed to Costco today.
So
yes.
Watani is explain who that is, since you just referenced him.
Oh, yeah. Baba Watani is a co-founder of the Malcolm X Grassroots movement. He's one of the most well-known and respected safety experts in the country, who's grounded in Black organizing, and we rely on him and the way that he teaches us and prepares us. We rely on him in Black Lives Matter Grassroots. He was also a father and other father to Tupac Shakur. I
mean, I feel like this whole idea that we have to be prepared for the emergency that is Trump. You're talking about go bags and stocking food in our houses. That applies for earthquakes. It applies for fires. It applies for, like you said, fascism and any other things, floods, whatever. So you kind of can't go wrong if you have the resources to do that, to make sure you have enough food for 3 to 7 days, enough water for 3 to 7 days. And that go bag, there's so many lists now of what you can put in go bags because of the fire. But to me, the go bag now mine has gotten a lot bigger, and I actually have a rolling suitcase because the fire made me realize, my little go bag that I used to have for the earthquakes ain't going to cut it. And what would I be doing?
That's right.
Throwing it in my car and taking off.
Right. I mean, the other thing on the other side of things, and you and I were fortunate to go to Altadena yesterday and see the spaces there and, the burned down homes, people who lost everything. I think one of your comments was, this is what it means for things to be burned to the ground, because we hadn't seen them with our own eyes before, right? I've been in Altadena pretty much every other day since the fires, but I hadn't been to the fire areas, right? We've been volunteering. And when we were there yesterday, we saw the burned down homes. But on the other side of things, opposite of the go bags is that also you really don't need that much stuff, right? And so remembering that a go bag can actually get you through some weeks. You need some underwear, right? You don't need 7 days worth of underwear. And I know people are going, that's gross. No, it's not. You wash out your underwear, right? I don't know if people know. I remember my mama used to wash out underwear, right? We used to wash out underwear. So you have underwear in your go bag. You can get through a week or two with nothing more than a go bag. So you also don't really need that much stuff. And if you do need to go, you should think about ahead of time what it is you want to take with you. So some of the fire victims were sharing with us their albums. And so all my Prince albums are in one spot. So if I got to go quickly, I can grab them. And so this is not to scare anybody. As I said, I don't believe in fear. I don't practice fear. But preparedness helps us to not practice fear. And if we got to go, we just got to go. And that's whether it's because of Donald Trump or a fire or a windstorm or an earthquake, that we should all be preparing ourselves, but especially under this regime where we know we won't be protected, right? We should think about how to keep ourselves and our communities and our own families safe.
Talking with Dr. Melina Abdullah. You're welcome in the conversation, 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and this is KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. Who cares about the Black community in Altadena? We do. On Saturday, March 8th at 10 a.m., it's the premiere of Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr. This new weekly show will explore the deep roots and resilience of Altadena's Black community as we track its recovery and reimagine its future. From relief efforts to rebuilding, we're raising up voices, stories, and solutions to build back Black Altadena better and stronger than ever. It's Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr, every Saturday at 10 a.m. beginning Saturday, March 8th, with an encore presentation, Sundays at noon.
James Farr, the man who is the voice for Black Los Angeles.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black.
Attention. If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance. And you better watch out, because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
iZurvey is proven to slow GA progression.
iZurvey. Izervay, get your GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad Pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay, get your GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
It does, and I'm happy to have the conversation going here with Dr. Melina Abdullah. She's a political scientist, obviously a community organizer, the director of Black Lives Matter Grassroots, which is Black Lives Matter. I also should have said, aside from Ramadan Mubarak, happy Women's History Month, happy Black Women Are Divine Month. This is an annual celebration, observance, reclamation that Black Lives Matter Grassroots has. It's practiced by chapters across the country, certainly here in LA. And in honor of said reclamation, I will be sitting in a couple weeks on and hosting This Is Not a Drill, which will certainly be my honor to do so. But Dr. Abdullah, talk about Black Women Are Divine, what it means, what it is, and how folks can be part of it. Dr. Abdullah, you there? Did we lose her?
Oh, I still have my phone on mute. Sorry
you muted.
that.
Yeah.
No, not only are you sitting in on This Is Not a Drill, and we're grateful and honored for you to be doing that. Thank you for agreeing. And that's on March 15th. You'll be hosting the show, but you are hosting the actual event on March 16th. So in Los Angeles, our event is on March 16th from 11 to 4 at Norman Houston Park. And it is a day of Black women's love and joy and artistry and healing. And we do it in honor of Breonna Taylor, whose life was stolen on March 13th, 2020 by Louisville police. The initiation of Black Women Are Divine happened when, I thought of the words of Zora Neale Hurston after the death of Breonna Taylor. And many folks, I know many Black women know these words, and it resonates for us when Zora Neale Hurston said that Black women are the mules of the world. Black women are the mules of the world. And just as quickly as those words came, I was reminded by the Creator that Black women are not mules. They try to make us into mules, but Black women are indeed divine. And so we celebrate the divinity of Black women every March in honor of Breonna Taylor. And this year, again, it's March 16th from 11 to 4 at Norman Houston Park. Dominique DiPrima is hosting.
Whoop, whoop.
Aloe Black is coming to sing to us. So love Aloe Black, who has a new album out. He's coming to sing to us. We got food, lunch catered by Harold and Bells. Grateful to my city council member. I said there's not very many politicians that I celebrate rather than protest, but I do celebrate Heather Hutt for all she does for our community, including paying for lunch for all of the Black women who show up for Black Women Are Divine. And so that's happening on March 16th, and everything is absolutely free for Black women. If you are not a Black woman, come and serve, come and honor Black women. We've had white women come and bring, trucks full of flowers for us, right? We've had brothers come and set up all the chairs and do all the labor that we normally do. They do that for us. And so the rules for the day are that Black women can't work or pay for anything on that day. We are coming to receive and be loved on. And there's a few Black women healers who just like to do it, and they'll get their Black Women Are Divine Day a different day. But those are the rules, is that Black women can't pay for anything and can't work, and everyone else gets to come and honor the divinity of Black women. It's a beautiful day. It's one of the most beautiful things that I think we do as Black Lives Matter.
If you haven't been, I really encourage you to come, not just because I'll be emceeing, but it's such a moving experience, especially for the older adults who come, our aunties and grandmamas and great grandmas who come, and you see the black men and other men who show up. It's mostly black men and white women, and we've had Latino women there, just volunteering and taking care of black women, helping them to their cars and giving them gifts and watching the children. It's just very moving and something unexpected and refreshing. So it's a beautiful way of honoring Breonna Taylor, but honoring the divinity in all of us, especially I think in this moment in history where we just see the attacks on black women ramping up. This is along the lines of we keep us safe, we keep us honored and loved, and love on one another. It's very beautiful. Norman O. Houston Park Saturday. But if you're in another city, because we have people that listen all over, those chapters, there could be a chapter. I know the Atlanta chapter of Black Lives Matter Grassroots is doing something, and there's a number of other chapters. So how would they find out about an observance or a reclamation near them?
Sure, at BLMgrassroots.org. BLMgrassroots.org has a map of all of the chapters that are participating. And there's more than a dozen chapters participating. So Atlanta, Richmond, Long Beach, Benton Harbor, Michigan, lots of different chapters. Buffalo, New York. We have 39 chapters. Most of them are participating in Black Women Are Divine and are doing events in those areas as well. So you can check blmgrassroots.org for locations near you. And it's also beyond the event, right? So every single day of Black Women Are Divine month, that's what we call the month of March, we honor a divine Black woman. And so people can follow our Instagram at BLM Grassroots. We've honored so far Jan Williams, who's our very own, one of the most magical organizers in Los Angeles. We honored her as a member of Black Lives Matter Los Angeles. We honored Mary Hooks, who's been a leader in the Stop Cop City work out of Atlanta. And then yesterday we just honored Megan Good. And you'll remember, Dominique, because you were part of her kind of emergence in movement space back in, I guess it was 2016, when we first started working with Megan Good, and she's used her platforms to amplify the work of Black Lives Matter and the work of justice. So we honored her yesterday, but everybody can stay tuned in and plugged in every single day for these honorings on BLM Grassroots Instagram.
And of course, it's all free. Dion Raymond, attorney Dion Raymond, my colleague, is in the chat. She says, it's wonderful. Attended last year. Looking forward to attending this year. Thank you, Melina and Dominique. We got news, traffic, and sports right here. Then we will continue our conversation. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Black U.S. Army Lieutenant General Talita Crossland, head of the military's health agency, was reportedly forced to retire amid Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's efforts to eliminate DEI initiatives at the Pentagon. Reportedly, she was not informed why she has to retire. Tatiana Williams, a Black Detroit mother who lost 2 children who died from hypothermia while living in her van, was gifted a new home by Detroit Rescue Mission Ministries. It's complete with new furniture and support for a year. Retta Cruz, a Black Arizona mother convicted of overdosing her 2 daughters, died by suicide in prison on February 21st. For mental health support, text STRENGTH to 741-741. And the family of Grammy-winning R&B and soul singer Angie Stone thanks fans for their love and support after her passing. They posted a message on her Instagram saying memorial service arrangements will be announced soon. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The CONCACAF Nations League finals arrive at SoFi Stadium March 20th through the 23rd. USA versus Panama, followed by Canada versus Mexico. Get your tickets now on Ticketmaster. For more information, visit CONCACAFNationsLeague.com/tickets.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man.
The USC women's basketball team was given its highest ranking in 39 years. USC moved up to number 2 in this week's Associated Press Top 25 poll. The last time USC was ranked second in the country was on January 5th, 1986. USC, led by Compton All-American Juju Watkins, is 26-2. The rest of the top 5, Texas at number 1, followed by number 3, UConn, number 4, UCLA, and South Carolina. UCLA finished the regular season 27-2. Both losses were to USC. USC and UCLA have byes in the first 2 rounds of the Big Ten tournament, which begins Wednesday in Indianapolis. USC is the number 1 seed in the tournament. UCLA is number 2. The Trojans and Bruins play their first games on Friday. The Lakers are going for their 7th straight win tonight. They played New Orleans at Crypto.com. The Lakers haven't had a 7-game winning streak since February 12, 2021. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Life blooms in beautiful ways. The Afia Center invites you to celebrate At the End with Red Gala, honoring the strength and resilience of Black women living with HIV. Join us for an evening of empowerment as we launch the Barbara Cambridge Scholarship and kick off Herstory Month with our theme, Life in Full Bloom. Your support helps create vital HIV programming and builds a future where every voice is heard and every story matters. The End with Red Gala, because every flower deserves to bloom. To learn more and to donate, visit theafiacenter.org.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
There's new reaction following the Trump administration's sweeping efforts to cut the federal workforce.
Fired but not forgotten. The Testimony Project. Bearing witness, breaking silence, building community. KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to amplifying the voices of Black federal workers impacted by the mass firings. Rooted in the Black tradition of testimony, this initiative ensures that those who served us are not erased from history. Through firsthand accounts, investigative storytelling, and community-driven dialogue, we intend to expose injustice, preserve truth, and demand accountability. If you or someone you know has been forced out of federal employment due to the mass firings, please contact us at info@smileyAudiomedia.com or via the open mic feature on the KBLA 1580 app. We want to hear from you and share your story. KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
They say the hardest part of getting something done is getting started. Well, we did that 30 years ago when California first took on the tobacco industry. Now, smoking is down 60%, lung cancer 42%. A couple of our cities have already ended tobacco sales. A California without big tobacco isn't just possible, it's already happening. See our progress at undo.org.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, everybody's welcome in left, right, center. But of course, we love our conscious core. the KBLA delegation, chopping it up in the chat at KBLA 1580 on YouTube. Tap in on all socials. I'm also at DiPrima Radio, DiPrima Radio. My guest, Dr. Melina Abdullah, is findable at Doc Melly Mel on her personal and BLM Grassroots on most platforms, right? BLM Grassroots most everywhere.
That's right, BLM Grassroots. And in Los Angeles, it's BLM Los Angeles on Instagram and BLMLA on Twitter. So, yeah, please plug in.
Okay, we're going to tick through a few of these issues now that I wanted to get your take on. Donald Trump announcing a pause on military aid to Ukraine on Monday. I'm not a warmonger. I feel like we should slash our military budget by about 3/4 and feed people. However, this is a pretty big deal, especially after him and J.D. Vance basically ambushed the Ukrainian president in the White House. Put this in perspective, what it means from a political scientist viewpoint.
If we weren't coming from a fascist regime, I would actually celebrate the slashing, right? I think that we should think about how much this country spends on war. When we talk about aid to Ukraine, the amount that's been spent on that war could feed everybody, house everybody, and send everybody to college for free. The complication is that we don't have a Dr. Cornel West as president. We have a fascist as president. So those dollars aren't going to be used for the things in the United States that we actually should have. They're not going to be used for reparations. They're not going to be used for universal housing. They're not going to be used for Medicare for all. And so what we know is that by ending foreign aid, by cutting spending on war, all that means is more money in the pockets of billionaires. And so that's the complication. It could be, like I said, a great thing. For many, many years, I've believed in the ending of military spending, right?
Yeah, but this isn't just ending military spending. This is ending military spending to one place while ramping it up to another. I mean, they just sent a whole bunch of billions to Israel. And I don't know. I mean, I also agree with everything you said about, repurposing those dollars. But this is also a realignment of sort of alliances worldwide, right? I mean, the Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, Fox News Secretary of Defense, announcing that he's going to stop doing any counter attacks on Russian cyber attacks against the U.S. and Europe. They're basically abandoning Ukraine while pumping up money to Israel and sort of laying off of Russia. So this is, I'm just kind of trying to, what does this mean in terms of alliances and sort of the way the world lines up?
Right. Well, that's exactly right. They're siphoning money away, not to put it in the hands of the people, not to benefit the American people, but they're siphoning it away and using it strategically to also continue to feed the pockets of billionaires. So if you think about what's happening in Israel, I heard you talk about, and we've talked about, that AI generated, I don't know what it was, the AI generated fantasy land that Trump put out about what he imagined.
Trump Gaza, yes.
Right. So the spending on Israel is really so that they can privatize Palestine and make it a place where he and Elon Musk and all of their ilk, I've never used that word until Trump, right? All of their ilk can really benefit privately, right? So they make themselves the super, super duper rich rather than just the super rich off of, these are public funds that are being used for that. So again, the public funds are becoming privatized, and that's what's happening with the pullback in the dollars of Ukraine that had gone to Ukraine, and the investment, because that's what they see it as, in Israel, so that they can wipe out the Palestinian people. It's not just because they hate Palestinians. it's because they also see a place for massive profit for the super duper rich.
I mean, and no doubt, that's one of the things that's so strange about it. Even those dollars that went to Ukraine were not really going to Ukraine. They're going to U.S. weapons companies that send those weapons to Ukraine. So there's always all of these layers to it. But meanwhile, the EU is saying that they want to borrow 150 billion euros to lend to their governments to arm themselves, since it appears that Trump is abandoning the typical alliances. And Elon Musk tweeted, I think yesterday or the day before, that he wanted us to drop out of the UN and NATO. And since he seems to be quasi in charge, perhaps they're preparing for that.
Right. I think that we see just a massive shift in where the U.S. sees itself and where the U.S. is in not just global security, but in the world and what our place in the world is. In some senses, and I'm probably doing myself I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm thinking and talking at the same time. And I think that what we see, what's coming to me in this moment, is that what we see is really Trump moving for Trump, right? So rather than prioritizing what's best for the nation, and even kind of selling out his own campaign slogan, right? He's not seeking to make America great again. Not that America was ever great for Black people or indigenous people or poor people, but he's not even seeking to make America great again. He's seeking to make himself richer. He's seeking to make Elon Musk richer, the rich richer. And that's really what these public resources and shifts are being used for. He doesn't care about, American security. He cares about his own personal fortune. Yeah. And that's what I think we see happening.
Let's go to Big Phil calling us from L.A. Good morning, Big Phil.
Good morning, and double dose sleep. Hi, Dr. Abdullah. Let me tell you something. You guys like two peas in a pot. You guys are fighters. We need more guys like you. Actually, you act like sisters. You guys something else. Let me say something. They got that Crowell versus Karen Bass. I mean, that's a joke. The Martinez pushing the issue. She's not going to get her job back, period. You're going to tell America what to do, okay? And not just that, when it comes down to, like you said, when Trump wins, when it comes to a white girl, well, we're not going to vote for Trump. They're going to vote for Trump. They're not going to go with the sister. They go with the white girl. So waste is right, live and well. We're going to keep pushing. Try not too much. Get stressed behind all this madness. Live for your family. What's going to be, what's going to be. Let God handle it. But she's not going to win, get her job back, period.
Do you agree with that, Dr. Abdullah?
I love you guys.
We love you more, Big Phil.
I love you, Abdullah. You guys keep fighting. We need more guys like you, more sisters like you in the world. I'm out. Big Phil.
Thank you.
Do you think he's right? Crowley won't get her job back?
Oh, no, she's not. She's not getting her job back. But, I mean, and who would want their job back when they don't want you? No, she's not getting her job back. She might get a better severance package, but she's not getting her job back.
So she's doing that for her lawsuit or her severance or her it's right. In other words, it's theater. She's not actually thinking she's going to get her job back. Yeah, makes sense.
Well, it's more than theater. It's strategy, but it's not the strategy of going back to work. It's I think it's a strategy so she can be more financially straight than than they're offering her. I do want to say, and when Big Phil said that we're two peas in a pod, I want to say we don't agree on every single thing. Dominique and I don't agree on every single thing. We agree on most things, though. Mm-hmm. And bigger than that, though, is the sisterhood. And I'm so appreciative. And I think that I want to offer that to folks that in these times that feel like nothing but struggle, find your people so that you don't have to nothing but struggle, right? Yeah. So that we can make sure that we build and win and vision and talk through ideas and figure out how to strategize. We have to do those things. So Dominique, you're absolutely one of the people that I'm privileged and honored to cling to, and all of us have to cling to each other. So I think that sometimes we focus on what's coming at us and don't also understand that there's an opportunity in crisis moments for us to revision, reimagine the world and work towards something that's much, much bigger than would have happened before. And so we have opportunities to do that. And all of us should be thinking about how to organize and how to build in this moment.
Yeah, that's mutual, of course. And I love that advice. Find your people. If there's ever a time we needed our circle, our friends and advisors, it is right the heck now. We continue this conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Fatherhood includes being present during pregnancy, delivery, and beyond, supporting your partner, and advocating for your baby's health. Black fathers play a key role in reducing maternal and infant health inequalities. Join the free AIM Fatherhood Program and make a difference. Visit blackinfantsandfamilies.org/fatherhood.
They say the hardest part of getting something done is getting started. Well, we did that 30 years ago, when California first took on the tobacco industry. Now, smoking is down 60%, lung cancer 42%. A couple of our cities have already ended tobacco sales. A California without big tobacco isn't just possible, it's already happening. See our progress at undo.org.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Ray Richardson, your sports connection here at KBLA Talk 1580. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough every Saturday night at 7 for Out of Bounds, the show that brings some flavor to the world of sports for 60 minutes. We take you beyond the scores and press conferences. We give you our point of view, the way black folks see what's going down. You can join the conversation and give us your analysis at 1-800-920-1580. Out of Bounds every Saturday night at 7 on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
You like your style, though.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
Talking with Dr. Melina Abdullah. She's actually a professor at Cal State LA, her day job, and she is an organizer nationally and locally in her volunteer job, in her sacred duty, as you would say, Dr. Abdullah. That's Black Lives Matter LA and BLM Grassroots, which is actually Black Lives Matter. And if you're not sure about that, all you have to do is compare social media. If you know anything about organizing, it will be obvious and clear to you which one is actually doing the work.
That's right. We're not the ones who think we have to take a vacation from not working, right? So you won't find us vacationing in Martha's Vineyard in Costa Rica, and where was Bowers in Israel, right? Vacationing in Israel. That's really kind of sick, right? You won't. We won't spend too much time on the thieves who stole our resources and platforms, but we want to remind people, if you are wanting to follow the real work of the movement, to follow BLM Grassroots and unfollow BLK Lives Matter, which was stolen from us in 2022.
And also, I mean, look, you won't say it, but I will. If you have an extra dollar or a dime, those folks took all the donations that people gave to Black Lives Matter, and you can donate. If you got a dollar, a dime, or an extra million, you can go to BLM Grassroots, right, and actually donate, blmgrassroots.org, and donate right at the site. I think it's important right now. I see that, I think I mentioned this last time you were on, Donald Trump's so-called faith czar has designated Black Lives Matter as, the Antichrist. We laughed about it, but these are kind of perilous times. I know you don't trade in fear. However, you guys are definitely being targeted.
That's right. So they're talking about crazy stuff like deporting people to Guantanamo Bay and mass arrests. And, I don't know what we would be arrested for other than daring to say that black people should be free, that Black Lives Matter is not a radical statement, right? But they've made it a radical statement to say
unless you're a member of
the
KKK, it's a radical statement. If you're, you know what I mean? If you're if you're a person who practices the lie of white supremacy, then it's a radical statement. I think
right, but the truth is they're the radicals.
Yeah,
we're not the radicals. And when we say that our lives matter, when we say that even they're talking about we can't have Black History Month or we shouldn't study Black studies. I teach Pan-African studies. They're taking the position of liars. I won't even talk about radical, right? They're taking the position of liars. They're saying continue to lie to kids in school, right? We're saying just tell the truth in school. They're saying continue to lie to kids in school. We're saying they shouldn't kill Black people. Police shouldn't have license to kill Black people. They're saying, oh, yes, they should.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
Their position is the lie. Their position is the lie. Their position is the murderous one. Their position is the thievery, the position of thievery, right? Our position is the righteous position. And so even though they understand we're their opponent, we're the righteous opponent. So people got to jump in on the side of right.
When we talk about the side of right, I don't know who first said it, but everybody says it now. The budgets are moral documents. The MAGA budget was just unveiled and has passed through the House of Representatives. It is really, I don't know that people are quite taking in what this budget proposal really contains. The cutting of SNAP, aka food stamps, massive cuts to Medicaid, which is health care for poor people, and tons and tons of cuts to social safety net, and lots of money going to rich people for tax cuts.
That's right. And then they're preparing to defund. They're not defunding the police. They're prioritizing funding for police, right? But what they are defunding is anybody who says we should have equity and equality. Any institution that advances equity and equality, they're attempting to cut that. And, we've spent a lot of time, you've spent a lot of time talking about how the threats to DEI programs are playing in, and what that means for things like HBCUs, what that means for Black student unions on campus, what that means for housing for students of color. All of those things are planned to be cut, and that's going to have a devastating impact on the world. But the point I want to get in also is that the response to their fascism shouldn't be us saying fascism light, right? We should wholeheartedly, again, jump into the fight on the side of righteousness. And so as they have this vision, these budgets that are moral and ethical documents, where are our morals? Where are our ethics? And what do we prioritize? So I think we need to think about how do we autonomously fund Black institutions and organizations? How do we fund the things that mean something to us? And that includes Black Lives Matter Grassroots, but it also includes other things like housing, mental health care. LAPD just shot its sixth person yesterday, right? And so I know
sixth person of this year. Just to be clear.
Person of 2025.
Yeah, not ever.
And we're only at the beginning, only 2 months in, they've shot their sixth person yesterday, right? Someone having in the midst of mental health crisis. And so we need to be clear about, well, if this is Trump's vision, if this is the radical right's vision, what is our vision? And so for every year since 2020, we've been asking Angelenos, what is your vision? So People's Budget Survey is out in the field. We need people to complete it. They can complete it while they're listening to the show. Go to peoplesbudgetla.com, peoplesbudgetla.com. And do you think we should continue to spend 50% or almost 50% of the city's unrestricted funds on LAPD, or do you want to see people housed? Do you want to see people get mental health resources? Do you want to make sure that we have recreation programs and after-school programs? All of that is stuff that you can weigh in on peoplesbudgetla.com. And we have to refuse to be just liberal in our perspective and say, how do we capitulate? How do we fly under the radar of Donald Trump? No, we're not going to fly under the radar. In fact, what that memo that they sent to educational institutions says is, even if you change the name of your programs, we're going to catch you, right?
Yep, they sure
do. Don't try to do that. Instead, stand boldly in what is right. And let's put in California and in Los Angeles, we can be much more courageous than if you were in Texas, where my family is from, right?
Yeah. And for those not familiar, peoplesbudgetla.com, it's a short survey. You can fill out what you think our tax dollars should be spent on. And in the past couple of years, the mayor of the city has taken a look at it. So it's definitely worth your time. It'll only take you 10, maybe 15 minutes. Dr. Melina Abdullah, thank you so much for being with me this morning. I didn't get to my list, so you'll have to come back. Don't I say that every time?
I would love to come back.
I think I say that every time.
Yes. Well, that's good. Then I get to keep coming back, so thank you.
Other than that, you'll have to catch her on Saturday morning from 8 to 10 on Black Lives Matters. This is not a drill show here on KBLA Talk 1580. Right now it is news, traffic, sports, and then we will hear from Dr. Mary Frances Phillips, author of Black Panther Woman, The Political and Spiritual Life of Erica Huggins. Happy Women's History Month from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Black U.S. Army Lieutenant General Talita Crossland, head of the military's health agency, was reportedly forced to retire amid Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's efforts to eliminate DEI initiatives at the